DJ Breezy on the beat.
Yo, Gazi, Brunsanguni Mokakre, na la la. What's that?
Greetings. My name is Yaa Yeboaa, host of Literary Voices. Tonight with me in the studio is Amponsah. Amma, welcome to Literary Voices.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I know years ago you were in our studios, but you were not the focus.
No.
It was your beautiful baby girl,
Yes.
who is no longer a baby,
No.
growing into a young woman. How old?
8.
Holy moly. So soon?
Too soon. They grow way too fast.
Beautiful. It's a delight to have you in the studio with me. Amma, I wanted to give the people, viewers, an introduction of who you are, but when I do that, I think I'll miss some, so I will let you introduce yourself.
Where do I start? My name is Amponsah. I grew up in Jane and Finch. I've been doing organizing in Jane and Finch for actually over 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So I'm one of the founding members of Jane Finch Action Against Poverty. Then Jane Finch on the Move. I could go on and on, a few different groups, grassroots groups within the community. And then now in my role as the director of the Black Creek Community Farm.
Okay. Yeah. So, what really spurred you into all this grassroots movements?
I think it's more so lived experience. I grew up in Jane and Finch. At some point in my life, I was homeless. I became a single mother. Some of the challenges and issues that I face, I learned that it's not just me that face them, but it's something that is across the board for a lot of Black women, racialized women, indigenous women. And when I sort of started at first, I was like, I want to be a social worker and I want to help people. But I realized that really wasn't my calling, and that I was really more interested in organizing grassroots, organizing with other community residents to address the issue and also to push for policy changes within my community.
Yeah. Okay. So, of recent, you said you're the director for Black Creek Community Farm, and the farm has hosted various events and programs. What are some of those events and programs?
So we run programs from basically February to November.
Oh, wow.
So for instance, we have Family Day event coming up.
Yes.
An opportunity for kids and their families to come to the farm, make some apple cider over our outdoor fire, take a walk in the trails, play some outdoor fun games. We also have Maple Syrup Day, where we teach people how to tap maple trees, how to make maple syrup. Again, do some food preservation workshops and things like that. Learn about some of the programs and services that we run at the farm. And then in the summer as well, we will have our farm festival, which is our big annual event. So we have anywhere from 400 to 1,000 people that attend that event, and they can again have some food to eat, check out the gardens, get to taste some of the stuff that we grew at the farm, and just really be able to enjoy the space as well. And that's done in partnership with African Food Basket, Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, and different local organizations that support to make it happen.
Wow. Yeah. That is deep.
Yeah. And one other piece that I forgot to say, so we have our annual big fundraiser dinner
Yes.
that we host at the farm every September. So this year will be September 17th, and we will have again multiple chefs, multiple wineries and brewery, and folks can come enjoy the farm, sit under the trees, hear acoustic guitar, and support the work that we do.
Oh, I think if that is the case, then I have attended one of them or so sometime last year, and it was a beautiful event, and people I haven't seen in years pop up, and you do see them. Beautiful. So, what are some of the challenges that you had to deal with in this, Black Creek community farming
So I can just give like a quick summary in terms of what we do. So part of the work that we do is really looking at food insecurity within the Jane Finch community, of course in the city as a whole.
But before you go there, food insecurity, we are in North America. When you talk about food insecurity, what is food insecurity here?
So basically, it's basically 4.4 million Canadians actually are food insecure, meaning that they do not have enough nutritious food to eat on a daily basis. And a lot of that problem is because of systemic racism, because of job insecurity, and colonization, which all plays a role into why there are certain groups within this so-called rich country that go to bed without food. So in general, 1 in 8 Canadians actually go to bed without food, and yet we're a pretty rich country. And when we talk about poverty, a lot of the time it's very focused in other third world countries. Like we believe that we are a land of the rich and
That's right.
and everyone should have enough, but that's not the case. And we know that that's not the case because of the studies that have come out to show that, and also based on lived experience as well. So part of the challenges that our community faces, one is the food insecurity, which is tied to job security, which is tied to housing, which is tied to so many multiple systemic barriers. So what we try to do at the farm is, one, look at what can the farm do to sort of address some of those issues, but also what role can the farm play in terms of bringing various different people together to look at that particular issue. The Black Creek Community Farm is an urban agriculture center, so part of the work we do is really looking at showcasing what sustainable agriculture can look like.
Okay, before you jump there,
Yeah.
before we get there, when we say urban agriculture, because we know about we know about growing food, raising animals, and all those things. But when we say urban agriculture, what does that mean?
It basically means like growing food within urban centers. So whether it's you have beehives in the city, or you're doing gardening, growing vegetables within the city, those are all sort of encompasses urban agriculture. And it's important because like over 60% of the world population live in urban centers. And a lot of us are very far removed from food and how our food is grown. So having a farm like the Black Creek Community Farm allows for families the opportunity to see what farming, where the food comes from, like most
What
importantly.
farming feels like and
Yeah,
looks like.
yeah, and also like to have a different relationship than what we have when we go to a grocery store. Like if you come to the Black Creek Community Farm, you're able to interact with the farmers and ask questions about how the food that you're about to take home is grown, and why it's grown in, why we say organic or why we say sustainable agriculture, why it's important that we're not putting chemical fertilizers on our vegetables, and the importance to the health of the farmers that are growing the food, but also to the general public as well. So you have a different relationship when you're interacting with us.
Wow. So, how did you become the director of the Black Creek Community Farm?
Long story. So back in 2011, I was actually pregnant with my daughter, and I was working for Jane Venturian Family Center, and there was an opportunity to collaborate with the Toronto Region Conservation Authority to do a harvest festival. This was when they were trying to open up the farm to different organizations and businesses, so they had put out a call for proposal. And when they were saying there was an 8-acre land in Jane and Finch, I could not picture it. And I've lived in the community for a long time. I'm like, where? Where is their land?
Yeah.
I was like thinking past Vaughan. And literally somebody had to drive me there because I couldn't, like, it just, and when I got there, I was actually shocked that this beautiful site had been preserved for so many years, and it's part of the watershed of the Black Creek, and it has a very rich wildlife with turtles and coyotes and deer and rabbits. Like, so it's a very very a very conserved site. So yeah, I helped organize that event for it. So when the Black Creek Community Farm project started in 2013, my name was put forward as someone to hire to look at community engagement within the project. So I was a community engagement coordinator, and then I became the project manager to now the director of the farm. Yeah.
Wow. Since that, and this urban agriculture, food insecurity, and healthy or organic food is also, I saw your highlights on some of it in Ghana. How did that come about on your recent trip?
So I've been, I think, since working at the farm, I've been very much interested in the conversations around sustainable agriculture, around food security. And so when I went to Ghana, even though it was supposed to be my vacation, to just checked out completely away from work-related stuff, but I couldn't help it. I attended a few forums and also checked out a few urban agriculture projects that's happening in Ghana. And it was really, really beautiful to see some of the work that's happening there, but also the reality of some of the challenges that some of the farmers face in terms of agriculture in Ghana. I took the opportunity on to check out a few farms and meet a few people that are doing agribusiness in Ghana, just to learn a little bit about some of the work and how we can connect some of the work that we're doing here with some of the work that they're doing there.
Okay. So far from your assessment with urban agriculture in Ghana, because the urban agriculture in Ghana that I grew up to see, for instance, was the sugar farm at the exhibition runabout in the Garsuman area. That was years ago. You will not find any trace of it as at now. You only find buildings in those places. And farmers farming cabbages or lettuces or whatnot by the gutters, and Yes. So as you speaking, I am trying to reconcile this urban agriculture, whether their practice is safe.
It's not, right? Water is a huge challenge. In terms of urban agriculture in Ghana, and the sanitation of the water. To be honest, there were a farm we visited that I was horrified because where I saw the kids getting the water from to spray the lettuce was horrifying. And talking to the farmer, it was because that's what he has access to. Because also in December wasn't a rainy season, it's much more a Hamatan dry season. So it played a role in terms of what they have access to do. And I think it's no different from other challenges that other farmers face globally around water, and water being a really big piece of that. But the other piece that you brought into is around losing land to development. We're losing fertile, arable land that can be used to grow food to development. You know, we can say that Ghana is developing quite rapidly, but it also means that we're losing a lot of land to development and land that could go to actually agriculture. And so how do you engage the government in understanding that to feed the huge population we would need land to be able to grow food, and that concrete buildings are not going to feed us.
Sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable, and it's not. We as a country we have to think about food sovereignty in a way that how are we as Ghanaian people going to feed ourselves so that we're not so reliant on other foreign entities to feed us. One of the interesting things that I heard is that in Ghana you have Brazilian chicken. And the first thing that came to mind, like Brazilian hair, now Brazilian chicken. Literally, Brazil ships in millions of dollars worth of chicken into Ghana, and you ask yourself why? Like, why? You know, it doesn't mean that there aren't poultry farms in Ghana, but the problem that it creates is now you're bringing in this cheap chicken. So then people don't want to buy the local chicken because they feel the local chicken
healthy local chicken
is expensive. Yes. And then it means that we're not building the economy of Ghana. We're very much reliant on someone else's economy. And it actually has a huge economic effect too.
That's right.
Within the country. So it's like, how do we look at Ghana sort of really building our own resilience so that we're not dependent on other people in other countries to feed us, you know, so that we can feed ourselves.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I've been doing, when I extended a call to you, I've been doing a little bit of more digging in and research, and that came to light. And that came to light. Sorry about that, folks. The chicken issue came to light. The tomatoes issues also came to light, that Ghana is losing its tomato farmers to Italy. And they go and do the same job, and it doesn't even pay. And our canneries and whatnot have been shut down in the northern region, which used to hire a lot of people. So, what are we doing to ourselves?
And I think the tomatoes is like the tip of the iceberg in terms of the big challenge and the big issues that we have in the country. You know, Ghanaians, we consume a lot of tomatoes.
Yes.
A lot of our diets is tomato based, yes. Right? So there's opportunity there to establish a business. And one of the things that when I was in Ghana, there was an article that came out in December that the Ghanaian government just gave about $28 million to a Chinese company to set up a tomato processing factory. And that was alarming for me because I was like, okay, what happened to the factories that we currently have in Ghana, and how do we make sure that we're building the facilities to do that? And why, as a country, are we not investing in ourselves, right? So I think it's something that and I say it's the tip of the iceberg, because I'm sure if you were to look deeper into other products and other issues, you will see that it's very prevalent. We're not doing that. We're very, very much very reliant on foreign entities to come in to the country.
Our problems, so to speak.
But is it solving our problems because they're taking the bulk of the money to their country? Right? The money is not staying in the country to make sure that the average Ghanaian is having enough in their pocket. And I think it's quite alarming because the gap between the rich and poor globally is
very wide.
It's very wide, and to be honest, in Ghana too. So you go to Ghana, you have this fun and you enjoy all the things because you save up your money the whole year to go and spend in 1 month. But the honest truth is most people that are living there are struggling. and are not able to pay for the basic things that they need in their life. And it's also because of our foreign policies and trade agreements and things that we've signed that's really hurting people.
Oh boy, there's a lot. So let's come. Let's leave Ghana. We are here in North America. We are in Toronto, within the Jane and Finch corridor. We're dealing with poverty. We're dealing with food insecurity, amongst other issues also such as health. I have tried some of the products from the farm, and it's absolutely amazing. Like juicy, juicy, juicy. What's the name? It's a cantaloupe or
What did you try
in the fall.
in the fall?
Yeah, I
Did
think
you
it
try
was
squash? Maybe?
No, I didn't try the squash or watermelon and what's the name? The yellow one.
Oh, zucchini?
No,
No.
the one with the yellow inside.
Oh no. I
It's the
can't
melon
think.
family.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my goodness.
It was good?
Oh
Yeah.
man, it was so beautiful. Like you tasted, and it doesn't taste like the store bought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, at a local farm, they wait for the food to actually ripen,
Yeah.
and it contains like all the flavors and everything before it
Exactly.
comes to your table. Versus if it's bought in the store, it's harvested at a certain stage, transported, frozen, whatever, and then put out for people to consume. So yes, it is one of the benefits because, like, even carrots, right? Like,
Yes.
for instance, I have a hard time eating carrots from the store now because it tastes like cardboard to me. Because once I got the taste of the carrots from the farm, you taste the flavor, you're like, whoa, I didn't know carrot can be this flavorful.
Yeah.
And so sweet, as in comparison to the one that you have at the store. So it is definitely one of the benefits.
Beautiful. So, what does the future looks like for Black Creek Community Farm and the programs that you guys are doing in there?
Yeah, I think every project kind of goes through a little bit of an evolution. The farm, it's been a learning process, to be honest. So you try this year and you realize it doesn't work. And, one of the things that I think we're very good at is like changing up to really trying to, and every year try to sort of figure out what will work. Because when we started this farm, there wasn't a farm like the Black Creek Community Farm. There wasn't a template that we can say, we're going to take that and we're going to learn from how they've done it and we're going to duplicate that here. We were the ones being called on to sort of like help other people, and we're like, well, come learn with us because we're literally figuring it out as we go. I think we're at a point now where things are much, a bit stable. And we're looking at our strategic planning, and we're looking at our business planning, and we're looking at different ways that we can improve, and also to hear from the community in terms of what are we doing that is working for you? What are sort of the new programs and services that we could provide to support community members? And I think every project, every 3 years, it's very good to sort of do that process. So that's something that we'll be working on this year.
Okay.
We just got on our new steering committee members, which is pretty much like our board. And so looking at building stronger governance for the farm as well moving forward. So in the next year, I hope, one of the things that I hope in the next few years is that we have a certified commercial kitchen.
Okay.
That can, where different groups can use it for their catering business. They can rent it at a minimum fee because in our community we don't have huge commercial kitchen spaces that is available to people sort of throughout the day.
Wow.
Or even having maybe a little cafe, being able to stop at the farm and sit under the tree and
I'd love
have something
that.
to eat. Yeah, I think that would be super
Yes.
cool. So, some of those things. Money though. Money too.
Well, one way or the other, there is some money somewhere waiting to be utilized effectively.
Yes.
Effectively. I think these are so wonderful. Like, it is so wonderful. So now let's come back to you. So you also teach.
Yes.
Do you teach anything in association with this agriculture or
So I teach a food justice course.
food justice?
Yeah, at George Brown College.
So food justice, what is food justice? Now I'm your student and the world is your student. For those of us who are not in your class, you're going to teach us.
Yeah. So I always give this analogy of like what is food injustice and what does that look like, and how do we then look at creating a food justice. So I give this analogy around like in when you grow up in a low income racialized community, there's an experience that you have to your grocery stores, as an example. You go to No Frills, there's the security bars, baby formula is locked out. The foods are not fresh, you bring it home, they rot. They're not, that high quality. You get your stuff, there's like a security guard at the end of the entrance and you go. That is the experience that we're used to. Once in a while, you get harassed, especially some of the youth, you get harassed by the security. It's become sort of the norm of your day-to-day activity as like either a black person, an indigenous person, a racialized person living in a low-income community. And then you go to more affluent neighborhoods and you notice that their experience going to the grocery store, it's so different. So like I'll use like Whole Foods as an example. The gates open, there's an array of food, fresh. They have a deli section like you never see.
Great B, great C, great.
Exactly. And then they have even a restaurant inside that you can get fresh food to eat, and then you walk out and, you're like, oh, even though your bill is quite higher than, the No Frills. But in it all, the injustice is the fact that why is it that racialized, low-income communities have so much policing? There's so much racial profiling that happens. Why is it that my grocery experience as a black woman is different from, like, let's say, a white middle or upper class woman in another neighborhood? It's sort of like you have food apartheid, which is a term that Karen Washington, food justice advocate, coined. Really looking at why is it that we have food apartheid, that in certain communities their experience to food is very different, and then in another community their experience to food is very different. So in terms of that issue, that's what you would term food injustice. So then if you look at food injustice, how then do we create food justice, right? We have to look at how do we dismantle the systems that's keeping those things in place. So one of it being racism, one of it being colonization, and how colonization even today. So for an instance, the indigenous people that is fighting, I can never say the name, so I try not to say it, fighting pipelines coming through their community and coming through their waters right now. And that's colonial racist injustice that's happening in Canada on your own land, on a territory that's their own. And for a group to say, no, this is my territory, and I do not agree for your $1 billion pipeline to come through because you're going to destroy my water, you're going to destroy my food source, and it's in your right as people here, right, to fight for that. But how does our government respond? They respond with militarized police, brutalizing those families and removing them from their land. So like when we talk about food injustice and we talk about food sovereignty, it's some of those issues around colonization, around patriarchy. So patriarchy in an example is the fact that why do we have a lot of women in farming, but a lot of women do not even own the land that they're able to farm on, and capitalism in the way that food is commodified. Food is not, we make the assumption that food is put in the grocery stores to feed us, right? To nourish our bodies so that we can be well. But that's not the case. Food is put there so that somebody can make a profit. Food is a profit. So one of the principles of food justice is saying that food is a human right. And I have a right to healthy, affordable, culturally appropriate, environmentally sound food.
But who's going to manufacture that, or who's going to
Well,
grow that?
Well, they say the privilege will never make any systemic change. If we sit there and we say, "Oh, somebody's gonna make the change because they see something is wrong," no. If it's benefited me, do you think I want to change anything? No. So it's up to us to stand up and to sort of push for those systemic changes.
Wow. I'd love to sit in your class one of these days.
I'm fairly new to teaching. This is my 3rd year, so.
No, I think with your explanation to me, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you say friendly me, I thought you say 1 year, but I think you're a marvelous teacher. You teach with experience because you know. And you've been there, and you've been in the trenches, so to speak, in the grassroots, and you have international experience with, food injustice, both here and in Ghana and around the world. Well, I do hope this message that you're spreading and this, what is the best way to say it? This information you are sharing with viewers who are watching us, we get to become more aware, because many of us are there, but we are not aware that all these things we're going through, as you said, and if you don't mind reiterating, I can say that you're looking at racism, you're looking at
colonization, patriarchy, capitalism, all of them.
Influence, the food that comes onto our table. Wow.
We assume that we have a choice, right? We assume that I go to the grocery store and I have a choice, but those foods that is there was purposely selected, right? Like how many people know how many variations of potatoes we have, how many variations of carrot, but somebody selected. So we think we have a choice in what we're choosing, but it's orchestrated.
Wow. This is some knowledge. You make me more aware now that when I step, to the grocery store and I think, I don't like this grapes, I like the other grapes. And actually, how many grapes? There are only 2. You see that? The green the seed or the seed?
The seed. Oh, well, yeah. So,
I don't really have much choices. It's been chosen and presented to me. So you choose within what has been presented. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for waking me up.
And I think the other part that I didn't talk about is the plight of migrant workers. In this country, in growing the food that we eat, right? So we bring in thousands of migrant workers a year, actually more than what we bring in through immigration, and to work the fields so that we can have the food that we eat within the grocery stores. And actually yesterday was the anniversary of the Hampstead migrant workers that died in a car accident, 10 of them including the driver. And it's been worked at Justice for Migrant Workers, who CCA has been leading. And I wanted to say that because yesterday was just the anniversary, the 8th anniversary of the migrant workers' death. And it highlighted the plight that a lot of migrant workers face when they come to this country.
So for those who don't know or understand the concept of migrant workers, most of them or some of them come from, for instance, the Caribbean.
Yeah, so the Caribbean, Mexico, Indonesia, or Asia as well, to work.
So they come, they work on the farm, they pluck our fruits and whatnot, and then we get it here at the grocery store. But they have no rights.
They have no rights. They pay health benefits. They pay EI, they pay everything that we pay into our health system, but they do not benefit from that. If they're sick, they get sent home. They don't get the same health benefit that we get, but they're paying into that.
I don't get it. Yeah. Something needs to be done. That is why you're doing what you're doing. It's been such a wonderful time having you in the studio. You enlightened me up, and I hope the viewers as well, you've been enlightened to the plight of our migrant workers and the food we have on our plate, on our on our table. The foods we have on our tables, we think we have choices, but really we do not have choices. There are powers beyond, and what it means to have urban agriculture. So if and when you come and you live within the GTA, pass through the Black Creek Community Farm. It's an amazing place. If you don't know gardening or you want to see farming, that is the place that you need to visit. And if you are an African like me and you miss the garden or the farm,
That's the place.
that's the place. You can come and dirty your hands a little bit and get a little bit of home back into you. Any last words, advice for the young men, women?
This work takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, and it's for the long haul. And I didn't know much when I came into this role, and I learned pretty much everything on the job. And I think learning is a continuous thing. There's no such thing as I've learned. We are continuously learning as we go, and I think the more we have in this work, the better.
Beautiful. Viewers, you've tuned into Literary Voices. I've been your host, Nana Yaa Yeboaa, and with me has been Amponsah, Director of Black Creek Community Farm. Thank you. See you some other time. Bye-bye.